Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening to all of you, faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news tonight. Our major stories this evening: at least 71 board chairpersons continue to illegally occupy their posts of responsibility even after their mandates have long expired. This revelation is contained in a recent study carried out by Professor Vivienne Ondoa-Biwole. She reveals the names of the board of directors and the public institutions they serve. The findings also indicate that only 19.71% of women are board directors in public institutions in Cameroon. We'll tell you more in this news edition. Plus, do you know your electrophoresis status as Cameroon braces up to observe the World Day Against Sickle Cell Anemia? Medics call on every Cameroonian to get to know their status before thinking of having a baby. This is the only way to reduce the number of children born with sickle cell gene. Those are our list stories, viewers. Details and more in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We begin this edition in health. The mortality rate related to sickle cell anemia in Cameroon remains high, with 20 to 30% of the population carrying the sickle cell traits. On the occasion of the World Sickle Cell Day observed each year on June 19, that will be tomorrow, health experts have called on Cameroonians to act as ambassadors in preventing this life-threatening disease and to curb its prevalence rate, which can be prevented via early diagnosis. The Lakentini Hospital in Douala is conducting or carrying a screening campaign. Lucy Liengu is here, was there. She now tells us more in the report which comes up next.
Sickle cell anemia, also known as sickle cell disorder, is a genetic condition that occurs when the hemoglobin in the red blood cells is abnormal.
This is a genetic disease. It's transmitted from both parents.
In Cameroon, it is estimated that 20 to 30% of the population carries the sickle cell trait, and several children are born with the disease each year.
From the results of a pilot study made in some health facilities in Douala and in Yaoundé, we can say that around 9,000 newborn babies have sickle cell disease. It's too much.
Dr. Epose Ella Charlotte, a sickle cell specialist at the Lakentini Hospital, emphasizes that diagnosing the disease is important before marriage.
If I'm a carrier of hemoglobin S, either AS or SS, I should not have children with somebody who is also a carrier. The only possibility for me to prevent disease or have children with somebody who is AA, who has a normal hemoglobin.
As Cameroon joins the world each year on June 19th to observe the Sickle Cell Awareness Day, the Lakentini Hospital is conducting a screening campaign.
We started the screening campaign today, and we are happy. We have already screened more than 300 people. We hope it's our own way to participate to the prevention of the disease, and we hope all the young people who have been screened today will be like ambassadors.
The two-day screening campaign is an opportunity for parents who had their children screened. A parent says her 2-year-old son showed signs of the disease, then he was later diagnosed in the hospital. When a patient experiences a crisis at home,
And now we turn to in the headlines. Out of 112 public institutions in Cameroon, 71 board chairpersons continue to illegally occupy their position after their mandates got expired. This is contained in a recent study carried out by Professor Vivian Ondowa-Biwole. It reveals names of the board of directors and also the public institutions they serve. The findings also reveal that only 19.71% of women are board chairpersons in public institutions in Cameroon. Innocent Ase with more.
According to a recent study by Professor Vivian Ondowa-Biwole, the situation is alarming in 2025, with 71 illegal board chairs out of 112 public entities in Cameroon, representing a non-compliance rate of 63.39%. More precisely, 50 board chairs out of 75 public institutions are illegal, representing 66.66%, and 21 out of 37 public enterprises, representing 56.75%. A breakdown by gender reveals that only 14 women out of 71, representing 19.71%, are part of this workforce. Looking at laws number 10 and 11 of July 12, 2017, which established the rotation of directors as one of the levers of performance in public entities, their mandates have expired. In her study, Professor Vivian Ondowa-Biwole lists the companies concerned and the names of the board chairs whose terms had long expired. Since the observation made in 2024, it is clear that almost all the board chairs whose mandates had expired have still not been replaced, except for the Kribi Port Authority, the Douala Gynaco Obstetric and Pediatric Hospital, and the Livestock Development Corporation. This observation reflects a trend towards trivializing compliance as if the laws were gadgets, regrets Professor Vivian Ondowa-Biwole. According to the professor, the longevity of executives is not always beneficial for business performance. The consequences include the nullity of actions taken by those concerned, legal uncertainty for public companies and institutions that deal with private and international partners. The public companies concerned cannot be listed on the stock exchange, and the fragility of the rule of law under the exemplary republic. The study conducted by Professor Vivian Ondowa-Biwole suggests the replacement of all board chairs of public institutions whose terms have expired.
And in other news, business persons in Cameroon are poised to work with the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises to handle key challenges which will enable them meet up with rising market competition. The collaborative solutions aim to equip entrepreneurs with the tools and knowledge needed to succeed and contribute to the country's economic growth. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
Nicole is one of the many Cameroonian entrepreneurs struggling to succeed in a competitive business landscape. Challenges such as limited capital, market competition, and a complex regulatory environment is hindering their growth and sustainability.
I am the founder of Zaya Green Foods. So at Zaya Green Foods, we produce local flours, plantain flour, sweet potato flour, cocoyam flour, cassava flour, and the corn flour, so white and yellow corn flour. Well, for the certification, first of all, we approached the ANO one time to ask a price. So when we got all of this all together, for each of our products, it was quite expensive, considering that we're a small enterprise and we're working with very small capital. So it wasn't easy for us to take out that amount to pay for certification. If we did, we will not have any working capital afterwards, which is why we didn't get the certification.
According to these entrepreneurs, standing out and capturing market attention is a significant hurdle.
Well, without the certification, it's impossible to get products into supermarkets. They like the products, but they said they cannot put the products on their shelves because there's no certification. So they told us we can come back after we get the certification and they will place an order for the products.
To address these challenges, entrepreneurs are meeting in Douala with representatives from the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. Together, they are seeking solutions to overcome obstacles and achieve success.
So with the help of the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, we will be able to acquire the certifications that will help us to put our products, and also with our products in supermarkets and other big surfaces, we'll be able to produce a larger quantity.
This collaborative effort aims to empower entrepreneurs with tools and knowledge needed to thrive. By finding solutions to these challenges, Cameroonian entrepreneurs can unlock their potential and contribute to the country's economic growth.
And now, how to guarantee the security and safety of children during this holiday period remains a veritable problem to many parents and guardians, especially those who are of the working class. They have to go out every day to make ends meet. Social psychologists recommend continuous communication with the kids by parents putting an eye on them and above all keep them in a safe environment with trustworthy people. Mala Glory spoke with some parents and also a social psychologist. He tells us more in the report which comes up next.
It is the holiday season for school children who are free to play around, especially in the absence of parents. In this situation, their security is the main challenge faced by parents who go about their different occupations daily. Some say for the safety of their kids, they call for help from relatives. Due to limited finance to get a security guard, she opted to get her two cousins to take care of her kids at home. She wants to avoid what happened to the 6-year-old Matisse from happening to her kids. To some parents, disconnecting electrical household appliances, locking up the kitchen, it's better safe for the kids. For others, their children are sent to training centers to acquire skills, while others are sent to learn a trade. This to keep them busy and safe from any accidents.
Moi, je les envoie faire les stages de vacances pour s'occuper eux-mêmes.
Je vais l'envoyer aussi dans un petit truc de décoration pour essayer de sortir de la maison, c'est tout.
However, a social psychologist recommends a series of measures to be taken by parents during this holiday season.
Il faut vraiment renseigner l'enfant sur les dangers qui sont dans l'environnement dans lequel il va.
For kids visiting family members, parents should educate them on the new environment, risk zones and no-go areas, while those at home, parents should keep a close eye on them. She furthers that the child should be advised on the dangers she's exposed to.
Vraiment accompagner, sensibiliser et
Now let's talk about corporate social responsibility, which has become an essential aspect of business operations worldwide. However, in Cameroon, corporate social responsibility initiatives face significant challenges that hinder their effectiveness and impact on the local population. A recent study highlights the weaknesses of CSR in Cameroon, revealing a pressing need for improvement. For me, Antron Sanda.
Corporate social responsibility has become an essential aspect of business operations worldwide. However, in Cameroon, corporate social responsibility initiatives face significant challenges that hinder their effectiveness and impact on the local population. Meeting in Douala, experts highlight the weaknesses, notably a lack of government enforcement, limited awareness and resources, neglect of environmental concerns, and inadequate corporate social responsibility policies. Additionally, they say that similar enterprises struggle to implement corporate social responsibility practices due to limited resources, while larger companies tend to prioritize philanthropy over sustained development.
On laisse le champ libre et chacun y va à sa sauce.
Due to the ineffective implementation, a corporate social responsibility expert Thierry Tenner says communities continue to suffer from environmental degradation, poor working conditions, and limited access to social services. The lack of sustained corporate social responsibility practices also undermines trust in businesses and hinders economic development. As recommendations, experts call for government to enforce existing laws and regulations related to environmental and social issues, providing a framework for businesses to prioritize corporate social responsibility, increase awareness and resources, prioritize environmental concerns, foster sustainable development, and encourage transparency and accountability. By addressing these challenges and implementing these recommendations, the experts say Cameroon can harness the potentials of corporate social responsibility to drive economic growth, improve community well-being, and promote sustainable.
And now we move on to news out of our national frontiers. The street protest in Kenya continues after a civilian was shot at close range to death by a police officer. The protesters since Tuesday have been denouncing police brutality in Kenya. They are protesting in Nairobi. And to the DRC, the Minister of Justice and Keeper of the Seals, Constant Mutamba, announces his resignation to President Felix Tshisekedi. Details of those stories and more with Cedric Chakutu.
Kenyan police shot an apparent bystander at close range on Tuesday during the latest protest over the killing of a blogger in custody earlier this month, sparking more fury among the public and demands for accountability. According to reports, the officer had cancelled his face with a mask, shot the unarmed man at close range with what appeared to be a shotgun. The man, who had been holding a packet of face masks, was believed to be a vendor caught up in a confrontation with two officers while standing on a Nairobi sidewalk. One officer shot him in the head as he walked away. Police, in a statement, expressed concern and said the officer had been arrested. Hundreds of protesters on Tuesday clashed with police in the capital while demanding the arrest of the Deputy Inspector General of Police. Eliud Langat, who had filed a defamation complaint against the blogger Albert Onjuang, was arrested on June 6 and died in custody. Elsewhere in Senegal, the driver of the canoe that capsized last September off the coast of Mbour with around 100 passengers on board was sentenced to 7 years in prison on June 16, 2025. This tragedy of illegal migration, which left at least 29 dead and dozens missing, sparked strong emotion, even promoting the President of the Republic to visit the scene. At the last hearing a month ago, the Attorney General had held against Sheikh Sal and the pilot of the canoe, as well as his accomplice, the leaders of involuntary homicide. But he had only 2 years of firm prison. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Minister Constant Mutamba resigns to appear before the justice. He just responded to a $19 million diversion charges aimed at building a prison center. The politician officiated on Tuesday his decision during an interview with President Felix Tshisekedi, who accepted his resignation. According to one of his close collaborators, Mutamba made this choice in order to leave way for justice. In a gesture, he wants to conform to the principles of public responsibility. It is targeted by a survey involving suspected evasion of public funds intended for constructing a prison in Kisangani in the northeast of the country.
Now we talk sports. Elite One referee Ndanga Munti was the talk of every social media platform that was earlier this week after he officiated in 5 different football games within 6 days, and in all those 5 games there was at least a penalty and also a red card. Talking to a reporter of air, a source within the referee commission says there's nothing wrong with Ndanga Munti referring in 5 different games. Mandy Kankiber is our man on that beat.
Cameroonian referee Ndanga Mundi made a record for himself in the history of Cameroon's football as he became just the first ever referee to have officiated 5 different games within 6 days, with all of the games having at least a penalty and red cards. For the football analyst, the situation is linked to the ongoing crisis between the referees and the federation.
It's rather unfortunate that a host of referees were suspended due to a potential strike. Even if they were not officially suspended, but they have been sidelined, and now we are left with just a few referees. It's left to the federation to tell us how possible a single referee can be officiating 6 games in 7 days.
Ndanga Mundi on Thursday, June 12 in Douala handled Avion FC versus Bafmen encounter. 1 day after in Limbe, he was the match official of Elexpor versus Legends FC in the Southwest Mini Interpol on June 14. June 15, he was in Yaoundé for the Canon versus Aigle of Mongo game, and on the 16th of June, still in Yaoundé, Ndanga Mundi officiated IS Fortuna versus PWD Bamenda's encounter before traveling to Limbe to handle Victoria United versus Union Sportive of Douala's game on June 17.
I think at the level where we are with our federation and with the recent happenings, nothing can surprise us. We are at the end of the season where teams are hustling to remain in the Elite One. All these things are bound to happen.
In the 5 games Ndanga Mundi officiated within 6 days, In 3 cities, Yaoundé, Douala and Limbe, he gave 8 red cards and 7 penalties. According to information we gathered from a source within the Referees Commission, Dangamundi was overloaded because out of the over 50 referees in the country, some were on strike, 30 were involved in a FIFA workshop, while the few left have to be used to see that things continue.
That does it for the first part of the news, viewers. Let's now move on to Talking Point. Our guest tonight is Tayong Tina. She is a safety expert. Thank you so much, Madam, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Now, we are on holidays and most children are at home, and there have been some recurrence of domestic accidents within the household. You, as a safety expert, can you tell us more about some domestic accidents which are recurrent during this holiday period?
Thank you so much, Anne, for having me on this platform. You're going to excuse me, please. I'm down with conjunctivitis, so I must put on the shades. Okay, we have a variety of accidents which could happen, especially during this period of the holidays. You know, kids are by nature very, very adventurous, as well as they are ignorant. So this holiday period is normal that we have so many of such accidents if care is not taken. We have accidents such as burns from fires, from the gas cylinders. Yes, gas plates. Some children will want to experiment cooking in the absence of their parents. We also have unattended candles, fires, especially with the power shortages. You know, some parents will light candles and children will go near and play. We have slips and falls, slips coming from wet floors, as well as disorganized homes, equipment or stuff just piled all over the whole place. You have falls, wet floors from bathrooms or floors which are not dry. So we have slips and fall hazards. We also have electrocution, electric shock. You know, now is holiday period. Children are bound to play games, connect their tablets, connect the TV, and so we have some some power supplies which are charged. We have overheating, and which can lead to fires. We also have drowning hazards. For example, septic tanks which are left unattended. We also have wells which are not covered. We have some environments, some homes with swimming pools. So those are potential hazards for homes, especially this period. We also have choking hazards. You know, there are some toys which have little parts, which have little parts. They expose children to choking. Some children play with and they swallow. We also have some inappropriate plays. For example, you have children covering their friends or brothers with the wrapping paper, so you have the risk of choking.
And now, what safety measures do you prescribe should be put in place to prevent such domestic accidents in the house?
Yes, and I think this is a very important question, because in as much as we parents are very busy, we leave home every day, we also should treat safety with all priorities. Because once the child or once the home is unsafe, we have so many incidents. I think parents should start inculcating the culture of safety in young ones. We should educate children right from young age about safety measures, even if it means brainwashing them that this socket, this is not good, don't go this way. We should create no-go zone areas for kids, so that as they are growing, they know, they have it at the back of their head that this is not good. My mother told me not to go here. We should not allow some medications uncovered or products. For example, we have the detergents. We have even medication which are left on shelves which children can go and take and drink. That is also poisoning. That's another risk. So parents on the whole have a lot to do, because children are ignorant, they are minors. So we parents must also supervise students. We must also supervise children, I beg your pardon. We should not leave children unattended to at home. We should try as much as possible to have
someone supervise these children. Wells should be covered, secured, leads should be covered on medication, leads should be covered. We should put out gas cylinders, we should close the gas bottles before leaving home. We should also unplug sockets before leaving home. We close the kitchen doors if possible. Bathrooms should be secured and locked, and maybe the children's zone or should be left dry, where they can go and ease themselves. So I encourage supervision of children. Children should not be left unattended to. Parents have a big role to play on that.
And now, Madam Tina, most parents nowadays have to go out to fend for their families, for their children. The father goes out, the mother also goes out. Most times the children are left on their own. Talk to those parents and also to those children who are watching us out there in order for them to be able to keep themselves safe within the day.
There is so much I can say to keep children safe, but I'll just go to the basics. For example, we have some homes which are open, like without fences, and you have even sometimes accidents come right to the home. Bikes come in by error and hit children. So we should just train children to be on the alert at all times. Parents should educate children. Educate. I think that sometimes when we are educating these children, it seems like it's monotonous. But just the fact that you do it a repetitive exercise, it sticks gradually into the children's head, and they gradually cultivate a culture, a safety culture, which they grow with throughout the rest of their lives. So I think that we parents have a lot to play by educating these children, assigning proper supervision to our kids in our absence. And if possible, you can be home with your kids, if possible. But if not possible, you have to employ the use of community, you have to employ the use of neighbors, you have to employ digital methods to supervise your kids.
Thank you so much, Tayong Tina, for accepting to be our guest tonight on the news. Just to remind our viewers again that you are a safety expert, and parents should be very careful and prudent, especially during this holiday period, to prevent domestic accidents from happening or occurring in homes. Viewers, thank you so much for accepting. Thank you so much for being with us. Our programs continue this evening. Equinoxe comes up in about 30 minutes with Saja Leng, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth-Bissay. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television, and we will be again tomorrow together. Same time, God willing. Bye-bye for now.